My name's Jake Tanner, and I'm just a regular guy from Ohio who thought family meant something. Turns out, I was wrong. It was December 23rd, 2024, when my phone buzzed with a text from my mom. I was sprawled on the couch in the little duplex I shared with my brother, Ethan, sipping a beer after a double shift at the warehouse. The message was short, cold, like she'd typed it with her gloves on. Glad you're alive. Stay away. No, Merry Christmas. No, love you. Just 6 words that hit me like a brick to the chest. I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering over the reply button, waiting for it to make sense. It didn't. I'd been carrying the weight of that place for over a year, paying the rent, the electric, the water, even Ethan's car insurance when he forgot to cover it. He'd been out of work since his landscaping gig dried up last winter, or so he said. I didn't push him on it. Family helps family, right? That's what I told myself every time I handed over my paycheck to keep the lights on. But that night, everything shifted. Ethan came home late, boots clomping on the hardwood. He'd been at our folks' place for some pre-Christmas dinner thing. I was in the kitchen, heating up leftover pizza, when he tossed his jacket on a chair and smirked at me. Oh, by the way, he said, casual as if he was talking about the weather, I told Mom and Dad you're basically just crashing here. You know, since the lease is in my name. He grabbed a soda from the fridge I'd stocked and popped it open. I set the plate down, the grease soaking through the paper towel. What did you say? My voice was low, steady, but my hands were already clenching. He shrugged, not even looking at me. Told him you're not really pulling your weight. Didn't want them thinking I'm some deadbeat letting you mooch off me. It's no big deal, Jake. Chill. He took a sip, leaned against the counter, and scrolled through his phone like he hadn't just gut punched me. No big deal, I said, stepping closer. I pay every damn bill in this place. Rent's $1,200 a month, and I've covered it solo for 14 months straight. You haven't chipped in a dime since March. He rolled his eyes. Yeah, well, I didn't ask you to play hero. You wanted to do it. That's on you. Then he brushed past me, headed for his room, and left me standing there, the hum of the fridge filling the silence. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the chipped Formica, replaying every time I bailed him out. The groceries I bought when he said he was broke. The late fees I covered when he missed his phone bill. The $800 I lent him for that busted transmission he swore he'd pay back. It added up, thousands of dollars, hundreds of hours, and a whole lot of me pretending it was fine. But that text from Mom, paired with Ethan's smug little lie, cracked something open inside me. I was done. By 3 a.m., I'd made up my mind. I grabbed my toolbox from under the sink, nothing fancy, just a beat-up metal case with a hammer, some wrenches, and a screwdriver set. The locks on the duplex were old, easy to swap out. I had a spare deadbolt in the shed from when I'd fixed the back door last summer. It took me 45 minutes, working quiet so Ethan wouldn't hear. When I was done, the new key felt heavy in my hand, like it was more than just metal, like it was mine, really mine, for the first time. The next morning, Christmas Eve, I heard him try to get in. I was sipping coffee, still in my flannel pajamas, when the scratching started at the door. A key slid in, jiggled, then nothing. A curse, louder jiggling, then a bang. Jake. What the hell? Ethan's voice was sharp through the wood. I didn't move. He pounded harder, rattling the frame. Open the damn door. I took another sip, set the mug down, and walked to the window. Pulled the curtain aside just enough to see him out there, red-faced, hair messy from the wind. He had a bag of takeout in one hand, probably from Mom and Dad's, and his old key in the other. He saw me, and his eyes narrowed. You serious right now? I didn't answer. Just let the curtain fall back. The banging stopped after a minute, and I heard his truck roar to life, tires squealing as he peeled out. Good riddance, I thought. But I wasn't cruel. I'd left something for him outside, a couple packages I'd wrapped a week ago, back when I still thought we were brothers in more than name. One was a new pair of work gloves, thick leather ones he'd been eyeing at the hardware store. The other was smaller, a little box that rattled when you shook it. Inside was a keychain with a tiny recorder I'd rigged up, something I'd been messing with in my spare time. It had a clip of him laughing with his buddies on my phone, saying, Jake's such a sucker. Keeps paying for everything. Why would I stop him? I'd recorded it a month ago, just in case. Guess I knew deep down it had come to this. I sat back down, the coffee gone cold, and stared at Mom's text again. Glad you're alive. Stay away. That's when it hit me. They weren't just cutting me out for Christmas. They were cutting me out for good. And you know what? I was okay with that. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't the one begging to belong. My name's Jake Tanner, and after I changed the locks on that duplex, I figured I'd feel lighter. I didn't. Not yet. Christmas Eve stretched out long and quiet, just me and the hum of the fridge in that little place I'd fought so hard to keep running. Ethan was gone, off sulking somewhere, probably at Mom and Dad's, spinning his version of how I'd wronged him. I didn't care. I'd left those packages outside for him, the gloves and that rattling keychain with the recording, and that was the last I'd give him. But the silence wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, like the air before a storm. I'd been carrying Ethan for too long. It started small, back when he lost that landscaping job. He'd come to me, hands in his pockets, saying he just needed a little help with rent until he got back on his feet. I wrote the check, $600 that first time, and told him not to worry. Brothers look out for each other, I said. Then it was the electric bill. then his phone, then gas money because his truck was always on empty. By summer, I was covering everything, and he'd stopped even pretending to look for work. I'd see him on the couch, playing video games, while I dragged myself home from the warehouse, bones aching from lifting pallets all day. "I'll pay you back, Jake," he'd say, eyes glued to the screen. "Next month, promise." Next month never came. I should have seen the signs. Ethan always had a knack for dodging responsibility. When we were kids, he'd break something, say, the garage window with a baseball, and by the time Mom got home, he'd have her hugging him, saying, "Poor Ethan didn't mean it." Meanwhile, I'd be the one sweeping up the glass. As adults, it was the same game, just with higher stakes. He'd cry broke, and I'd open my wallet. Mom and Dad ate it up too. "Ethan's got a big heart," Dad would say, clapping him on the shoulder. "He just needs time." Me? I was too hard-headed, too stubborn, the guy who didn't know how to loosen up. Funny how being the responsible one made me the bad guy. But the real kicker came a week before that Christmas text from Mom. I'd gotten home late, feet sore, and found a stack of mail on the counter. Ethan was out, probably at some bar, so I started flipping through it. Bills, junk, the usual. Then I saw it, a credit card statement from some company I didn't recognize. My name was on it, but I hadn't opened any new accounts. I tore it open, and my gut dropped. For $1,912.19 in charges, bars, gaming consoles, a new TV, even a weekend at a lake cabin up north. Stuff I'd never bought. I checked the account online, hand shaking as I logged in with my email. Yep, my email, but the password was new. Took me 3 tries to guess it. Ethan's birthday. There it was, all linked to his phone number. I sat there, staring at the screen, the blue light burning my eyes. He'd used my identity, racked up a fortune, and didn't even blink. I thought about confronting him right then, but something stopped me. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was knowing he'd just lie his way out of it. So I stayed quiet, started digging. Took pictures of the statement, saved emails, even found receipts he'd tossed in the trash, crumpled bar tabs with his handwriting on the tip line. I built a file, piece by piece, waiting for the right moment. That moment came with Mom's text and Ethan's little squatter comment. Changing the locks wasn't just about keeping him out. It was about taking back what was mine. But he didn't stay gone long. Christmas Day, around noon, I heard his truck rumble up the driveway. I was in the living room, flipping through channels, trying to pretend it was a normal day. The banging started again, louder this time, like he was gonna bust the door down. "Jake, I know you're in there. Open up." I muted the TV, got up slow, and peeked through the blinds. He was out there, holding the packages I'd left, the wrapping paper torn open. The gloves were in his hand, but the keychain was on the ground, blinking red where the recorder was still running. His face was twisted, all rage and no shame. "You think this is funny?" he yelled, shaking the gloves at the window. "You're a psycho, man. Recording me? What's wrong with you?" I opened the door, just a crack, keeping the chain on. "What's wrong with me?" I said, voice calm but hard. "How about you stealing my name, Ethan? For grand on a card I didn't open. That sound familiar?" His mouth opened, then shut. He blinked like he hadn't expected me to know. Look, I was gonna pay it back. I just needed some stuff to get by. Get by. I laughed, short and bitter. "You got by on my dime for a year. That TV in your room? The one I didn't buy? That's my money." He stepped closer, eyes narrowing. "You're really gonna do this? Over some cash? We're family, Jake." "Family doesn't lie to family," I said. "Family doesn't trash the guy paying their way. You told Mom and Dad I'm some freeloader. After everything I've done." He threw the gloves down, right there on the porch. "You're so full of yourself. Always playing the martyr. Maybe if you weren't such a tight ass, they'd actually like you." That stung, but I didn't flinch. "Maybe if you weren't such a leech, I wouldn't have to be. Take your stuff and go. We're done." He stared at me, jaw tight, then kicked the keychain across the yard. "You're gonna regret this," he muttered, stomping back to his truck. I watched him peel out, tires spitting gravel, and shut the door. The duplex felt bigger without him in it, but the weight was still there, years of trust, crushed under his boots. I wasn't sure what came next, but I knew one thing. I wasn't carrying him anymore. My name's Jake Tanner, and after Ethan stormed off that Christmas Day, I thought the worst was over. I was wrong. The duplex was mine again, quiet in a way it hadn't been for months, but the mess he'd left behind wasn't just dirty socks and empty beer cans. It was deeper, uglier, and it started spilling out faster than I could brace myself for. I spent the rest of Christmas alone, not wallowing, just taking stock. Sat on the couch with a plate of cold ham I'd cooked a week back, picking at it while the TV droned some old holiday movie I wasn't watching. My phone stayed silent. No calls, no texts, not even a guilt trip Merry Christmas from Mom or Dad. I figured Ethan had already spun his tale, painted me as the villain who locked him out in the snow. Fine by me. I was done explaining myself to people who'd already picked their side. But the next morning, December 26th, the real storm hit. I was in the kitchen, frying eggs, when my phone lit up with a call from Dad. I let it ring twice, debating, then picked it up and hit speaker. "Jake," he said, voice rough like he'd just woken up. "What in the hell is going on? Ethan showed up here last night, says you kicked him out. Changed the locks. Left him some creepy recording." I flipped the eggs, keeping my tone flat. "Yeah, I did." He's lucky that's all I left him. Lucky. Dad's voice climbed. He's your brother, not some deadbeat tenant. What's gotten into you? I set the spatula down, leaned on the counter. What's gotten into me? How about him using my name to open a credit card? For $1,000, Dad. Bars, gadgets, a damn TV. My money, his fun. You gonna ask what's gotten into him? There was a pause, long enough I could hear Mom muttering in the background. He says that's a misunderstanding, Dad finally said. Said he was borrowing it. Meant to tell you. I laughed, sharp and loud. Borrowing? With my social security number? Without asking? That's not borrowing. That's stealing. And he's been living here free for a year. Rent, bills, everything. I'm done being his ATM. Dad sighed, heavy, like I was the one wearing him out. You're blowing this up, Jake. He's struggling. You've always been the steady one. We thought you'd help him out, not turn on him. Turn on him. I gripped the phone tighter. He told you I'm crashing here, like some squatter. After I paid every dime to keep this place going. You believe that crap? He's family, Dad said, like that explained it all. You don't throw family out on Christmas. You threw me out first. I shot back. That text from Mom, stay away. What was that? I've been holding this family together, and you're all acting like I'm the problem. He didn't answer right away. I heard a chair scrape, then Mom's voice, shrill, cutting in. Jake, you're being selfish. Ethan's a mess because you won't support him. He showed us that recording, him joking with friends. You're spying on him now. I turned off the stove, the egg sizzling to a stop. Joking? He said I'm a sucker for paying his way. Said he'd keep taking as long as I let him. That's not a joke, Mom. That's who he is. She huffed. You're twisting it. He's not perfect, but you're heartless. Locking him out? That's cruel. Cruel's letting him rob me blind, I said. Cruel's you taking his side when I've been breaking my back for him. I'm done. Dad came back on. Son, you need to calm down. We're coming over. This needs to stop. Don't bother, I said. Locks are new. You're not welcome either. I hung up before he could argue, my hand shaking as I tossed the phone on the counter. The kitchen smelled like burnt yolk, and my stomach churned, not from hunger, but from the weight of it all crashing down. They didn't show up that day, but Ethan did. Around dusk, I heard his truck again, slower this time, like he was sizing up the place. I was in the garage, tinkering with an old lawnmower I'd been meaning to fix when he banged on the side door. Jake, we gotta talk. I wiped my hands on a rag, stepped out, and faced him through the screen. He looked rough, bags under his eyes, jacket wrinkled like he'd slept in it. What? I said, crossing my arms. He held up the keychain recorder, now smashed, wires dangling. This is low, man. You're trying to ruin me. You ruined yourself, I said. That card? I've got the statements. Receipts. Your name's all over it. You think I won't take this to the cops? His face went pale, then red. You'd snitch on your own brother? You'd steal from your own brother, I fired back. Call it what it is. He lunged at the screen, fist slamming it so hard I thought it'd tear. You're a bastard, Jake. Mom and Dad see it now. You're out. Done. They're cutting you off. Good, I said, stepping closer, voice steady. I don't need them. Or you. Get off my property. He glared, chest heaving, then spat on the ground. You'll pay for this. He stormed back to his truck, gunned it, and left a cloud of dust behind. I stood there, the cold biting my knuckles, and realized something. They weren't just mad. They were scared. Scared I'd stopped playing their game. That night, I sat at my kitchen table with a beer, pulling up those credit card files on my laptop. Every charge, every lie, laid out plain. I wasn't just done. I was ready to fight. They thought they could guilt me back in line. They didn't know I'd already cut the rope. My name's Jake Tanner, and by the time Ethan peeled out of my driveway that December 26th, I knew this wasn't just a family spat anymore. It was war. Not the loud, yelling kind, though there'd be plenty of that, but the quiet, steady kind where you draw a line and dare them to cross it. I'd spent years being the guy who fixed everything, paid everything, took the blame for everything. That Jake was gone. The new one? He wasn't backing down. I didn't sleep much that night. Kept my laptop open, sorting through the mess Ethan left me, those credit card statements, the bar receipts, the online orders shipped to our address and my name. I printed it all, stacked it neat on the kitchen table like a battle plan. By morning, I'd called the bank, filed a fraud report, and got a case number. The lady on the phone was nice, said it'd take a few weeks to sort out, but they'd freeze the account for now. That was step one. Step two was harder, figuring out how deep this went with Mom and Dad. They showed up the next day, December 27th, just like Dad threatened. I was in the garage, patching a tire on my old pickup, when their Buick rolled up. Mom got out first, arms crossed, scarf tied around her neck like armor. Dad followed, slower, hands in his pockets. I wiped the grease off my fingers and met them at the porch steps, keeping the door shut behind me. Jake, Mom started, voice sharp, this has gone far enough. Ethan's a wreck. You need to let him back in. I leaned against the railing, calm as I could manage. He's a wreck because he got caught. He stole from me, Mom. Thousands. You gonna pretend that didn't happen? Dad stepped up, frowning. He says it's not like that. Says you're exaggerating, making him look bad. I pulled the folded statement from my back pocket, held it out. $4,912.19. That's not exaggerating. That's fact. Look at it. Mom snatched it, scanned it, then shoved it at Dad. This doesn't prove anything. He could have asked you. Your brothers. Ask me. I said, voice rising despite myself. He used my social security number. Opened it behind my back. You think I'd sign up for a TV I don't own? A weekend at Lakeview Cabins I never took? Dad stared at the paper, jaw tight. He's young, Jake. Makes mistakes. You've always been solid. Why can't you give him a break? Because I've been giving him breaks for a year, I said. Rent, bills, his car, my money. He's 28, not 18. And you two let him spin this lie that I'm some freeloader crashing here. After everything. Mom's eyes narrowed. You're so dramatic. We didn't mean that text like you took it. We just needed space, with Ethan struggling. Space from me, I said, nodding. The guy keeping the lights on. Real nice. Dad rubbed his face. Look, let's fix this. He can stay with us, but you gotta drop this police nonsense. It's embarrassing. I crossed my arms. No. He broke the law. I'm not dropping it. You want to talk embarrassing? How about your son racking up debt in my name while you clap him on the back? Mom's face went red. You're ungrateful. We raised you, gave you a home. And I paid for it, I cut in. Literally. You're not hearing me. I'm done being the punching bag. Dad stepped closer, voice low. You push this, Jake, and you're out. No family, no help, nothing. Think about that. I met his eyes, steady. I've been out. You made that clear. I don't need you, or him, anymore. They stood there, stunned, like they hadn't expected me to call their bluff. Mom huffed, turned on her heel, and marched back to the car. Dad lingered, then shook his head. You're making a mistake, son. He followed her, and they drove off, dust trailing behind them. I went back inside, heart pounding but head clear. They thought they could guilt me into folding. They didn't get it. I wasn't folding anymore. That night, I called a locksmith to double-check the deadbolts and started boxing up Ethan's junk, clothes, games, that damn TV. Piled it in the garage, ready for whenever he grew the guts to come get it. The duplex felt emptier, but not in a bad way. It was mine now, not just a crash pad for his chaos. By New Year's Eve, the bank called back. Preliminary review showed clear fraud, Ethan's email tied to the account, charges matching his habits. They'd reimburse me the full $4,912.19 once the investigation closed. I hung up, cracked a beer, and watched the ball drop on TV alone. Didn't feel lonely, though. Felt like a win. But I knew this wasn't over. Ethan wouldn't let it go quiet, and neither would Mom and Dad. The line was drawn. Now it was about holding it. My name's Jake Tanner, and the first week of January 2025 hit me like a freight train. I'd drawn my line, kicked Ethan out, and told Mom and Dad where I stood. I thought that'd be the end of the pushback. Nope. They came at me harder, like I'd poked a hornet's nest with a stick. It started January 3rd, a Friday. I was at work, hauling crates in the warehouse, when my boss waved me over. Jake, you got a visitor, he said, jerking his thumb toward the break room. I wiped the sweat off my forehead and walked in. There was Ethan, sitting at the table, sipping a coffee like he owned the place. My stomach twisted, but I kept my face blank. What are you doing here? I said, staying by the door. He leaned back, smirking. Came to talk sense into you. Mom and Dad are pissed, man. You're tearing us apart over some dumb credit card. I stepped closer, voice low. Dumb? You stole my identity. That's not dumb. That's a felony. And I'm not the one tearing anything. You did that. He stood up, tossing the cup in the trash. You're such a drama queen. I was gonna pay it back. You didn't have to go crying to the cops. Pay it back with what? I said. You haven't worked in a year. My money's all you had. He laughed, bitter. Oh, right, St. Jake. Always the hero. You think you're better than me? No, I said. I just don't screw over the people who help me. He got in my face, close enough I could smell the stale coffee on his breath. Drop the charges, Jake, or I'll make this ugly. Mom and Dad'll back me. You'll be the asshole who ruined the family. I didn't flinch. It's already ugly. And I've got proof, statements, recordings, receipts. You've got lies. Good luck with that. He glared, then shoved past me, muttering, You're done, man. I watched him go, heart racing but steady. My boss poked his head in, eyebrow raised. Everything okay? He asked. Yeah, I said. Just family crap. That night, I got home to find a voicemail from Mom. Jake, Ethan told us you threatened him at work. We're done with this. You either fix it, or we're washing our hands of you. Call me. I deleted it, didn't call back. Threatened him? He'd come to my job, not the other way around. But that's how they worked. Twist it, flip it, make me the bad guy. Then came the real blow. January 5th, I checked my mail and found a letter from the electric company. Account past due, $620, in my name, but the address was Mom and Dad's house. I hadn't lived there in years. I called the utility, and the guy confirmed it. My name was added to their account 6 months ago. No signature, just my social security number. Same number Ethan used for the credit card. They'd all been in on it. Ethan racking up bills, Mom and Dad pinning it on me. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at that bill, fury boiling up. They weren't just defending him. They were helping him bleed me dry. I added it to my fraud file, called the cops again, and updated the report. The officer I talked to, a guy named Ramirez, sounded tired but firm. This is escalation, he said. We'll look into it. Keep everything, letters, voicemails, all of it. By January 7th, Ethan struck again. I woke up to my truck's windshield smashed, glass all over the driveway. No note, no proof, but I knew it was him. I called Ramirez, filed another report, and spent the morning sweeping up shards, cursing under my breath. That afternoon, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Back off, or it gets worse. I saved it, sent it to the cops. The line I'd drawn was holding, but they were swinging hard to knock me off it. I wasn't scared, though. Mad, yeah, mad enough to spit nails, but not scared. I'd worked too hard, lost too much, to let them win. That night, I sat with my files, my beer, and a plan. If they wanted to fight, I'd give them one they couldn't twist their way out of. My name's Jake Tanner, and by mid-January 2025, I was in deep. Ethan's windshield stunt, and that utility bill in my name lit a fire under me. I wasn't just defending myself anymore, I was taking the fight to them. Mom, Dad, Ethan, they built their little world on my back, and I was done letting it stand. January 10th, I met with a lawyer. Guy named Tom Carver, worked out of a strip mall office with a flickering sign. He was short, balding, wore a tie that didn't match his shirt, but his handshake was firm. I laid it all out: credit card fraud, the utility scam, the truck damage, Ethan's threats. Showed him my stack of evidence, statements, photos, that smashed keychain recorder, even the text from the unknown number. He flipped through it, whistling low. This ain't just family drama, he said. This is theft, fraud, maybe vandalism if we can pin the truck on him. You got a case. What's it gonna cost? I asked, figuring my savings were already thin. He grinned. Contingency. I take a cut if we win. You're not the one who should be paying here. I liked him already. We filed a civil suit that week. Me versus Ethan, Mom, and Dad. Identity theft, financial damages, emotional distress, the works. Tom said we'd ask for $15,000, covering the credit card, the utility bill, my truck repair, and a chunk for the year I'd bankrolled Ethan. I also pressed criminal charges through the cops, letting Ramirez handle that side. By January 15th, the papers were served. I didn't see their faces when they got him, but I could imagine Mom's screech and Ethan's tantrum. They didn't stay quiet long. January 17th, Dad called, voice shaking with rage. A lawsuit? Jake? You're suing your own family? What's wrong with you? I was in my kitchen, eating a sandwich, phone on speaker. What's wrong with me? You put my name on your electric bill. Ethan smashed my truck. You're lucky it's just a lawsuit. That's nonsense, he snapped. We didn't do anything. Ethan says you're framing him. I swallowed a bite, kept my cool. Cops have the evidence. So does my lawyer. You want to lie? Take it to court. He hung up. An hour later, Mom texted, you're dead to us. I didn't reply. Didn't need to. The reckoning was coming, and I was ready. Court day was February 3rd, a gray, slushy morning. I wore my best jacket, not fancy, just clean, and sat next to Tom in the small courtroom. Ethan showed up in a wrinkled hoodie, Mom and Dad in stiff church clothes, like that'd make him look innocent. The judge, a woman with glasses perched on her nose, didn't waste time. Tom laid out the case, dates, dollar amounts, my whole paper trail. Ethan's lawyer, some greasy guy in a cheap suit, tried to spin it. Jake's overreacting. It's a misunderstanding. Family helps family. The judge cut him off. Helping doesn't include forging documents. Mr. Tanner, explain this utility account. Mom fidgeted. We thought Jake agreed. It was for the house. He used to live there. Used to, I said, standing. I moved out 3 years ago. Never signed anything. They used my social security number. The judge peered at Dad. You authorized this? Dad mumbled. It was a mix-up. She wasn't buying it. Ethan's turn came, and he stumbled, claiming the credit card was temporary, that I'd let him use it. Tom played the recording, Ethan's voice, clear as day. Jake's a sucker. Why wouldn't I take it? The room went quiet. Ethan's face turned purple. Ruling came fast. Guilty on all counts. I got $12,000, less than we asked, but enough. Ethan got probation, a fine, and a fraud mark on his record. Mom and Dad had to pay the utility debt and court costs. They glared at me as we left, but I didn't look back. Outside, Tom clapped my shoulder. You did good, kid. I nodded, feeling the weight lift, just a little. My name's Jake Tanner, and after that courtroom win, life didn't magically fix itself, but it got better. February rolled into March 2025, and the duplex started feeling like home, not a battlefield. The $12,000 hit my account by mid-month, and I used it smart, fixed the truck, paid off some debt, stashed the rest. Ethan's probation kept him away, and Mom and Dad went silent. No apologies, no outreach, just nothing. That was fine. I'd made my peace. Work picked up at the warehouse, got a small raise, started pulling overtime. Bought a new TV, one I picked, and hung it on the wall where Ethan's stolen one used to sit. Nights were simple. Dinner, a beer, maybe a movie. No more bailing anyone out, no more lies clogging up my space. The quiet wasn't empty anymore, it was mine. April brought a surprise. I was mowing the lawn, first cut of the season, when a car pulled up. Out stepped my cousin, Lisa, Dad's niece. We'd never been close, but she'd always been straight with me. She held a box, small, taped shut. "Hey, Jake," she said, hesitant. "This is from Uncle Ray, your grandpa. Grandpa Ray had passed years back, left most of his stuff to Dad." "What is it?" I asked, shutting off the mower. She handed it over. "He set up a savings account for you, back when you were a kid. Dad found out and cashed it, $7,000 for Ethan's truck last year. Lisa didn't know till she went through some old papers. I figured you should have what's left." I opened the box. Inside was a bank letter, $2,000 still in the account, frozen when Lisa caught wind, and a note from Grandpa, "For Jake, the good one." My throat tightened. Lisa hugged me, quick, then left. I deposited the cash, used it to buy a new mower, and felt Grandpa's pride from somewhere up there. By May, I got an email from an old high school buddy, Mark. "Heard about Ethan," it said. "He's bouncing around, crashing with friends. Says you screwed him over. Thought you'd want to know." I deleted it. Didn't care. He wasn't my problem anymore. Last week, I ran into Dad at the hardware store. He was buying paint, looked worn out. "Jake," he said, quiet. "You happy now?" I grabbed my nails and shrugged. "Yeah, you." He didn't answer, just walked away. I drove home, cracked a beer, and sat on my porch. The sun was setting, air warm, and for the first time, I didn't feel like I had to prove anything. I'd lost a family, sure, but I'd gained myself. That's not revenge. That's freedom.